What is happening? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today we have a live show planned. We're going to talk about absolutely everything that is going on right now, the lack of things going on right now, and then, of course, over 17 refuelers all deploying at the same time. What the hell is going on? We'll be right back to tell you right after this. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is happening? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Welcome everyone in. Just in case this is your first time here, of course you know that we actually back up everything we are going to have here tonight, including every single article, tweet, video, whether it be a document. It is all going to be on our website. Now, when you go to marfooglenews.com, you will see that it is very easy to navigate by thumbnail. Now, when you see this thumbnail, make sure to click on that, and once you do, it will bring you to every single link, every single article. Everything is all there, so you know exactly where you are getting your stories from. It has the source, and it is a bibliography. Now, if you do want to support us in any way, our affiliates are on the right side. We are truly independent. We do not have a multi-channel network, not even a multi-billion-dollar company behind us. So again, you are our backbone. Thank you, everybody that has supported, that has watched me evolve from doing videos in my car to the show you see today. And then down at the bottom, there is web-only content. Essentially, there's probably going to be a couple things added into that category today. We'll talk about that. There is a lot going on, and now everything is kind of going downhill. So we'll talk about that as well. Anna's Lily's mom, thank you for popping in right off the bat. Thank you so much. Back-to-back super chats. I really appreciate that, Anna. Those were the same, so if either one of those was a mistake or you meant to do one, I appreciate it either way. Thank you so much, Anna's Lily's mom. And then Fisher247 says, fear no evil. Perfect. And then Derek Gilbert, thank you for subscribing. It looks like about 5 minutes ago you subscribed. I actually knew a guy named Derek Gilbert in high school, so I wonder if that's you. Either way, thank you so much for coming in. Sean Gutman, it looks like, also subscribed right before the show. We had several people, including Michael Torres, join the Foogle fam. So let's introduce my co-host / internet brother, Dex. What is going on today, and how are you doing?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So we will get right into the news. Of course, we are paying for Taco Bell with Dogecoin may soon be a reality. Now, Dogecoin itself is, considered a joke in a lot of the crypto circles, but apparently crypto in general may be accepted at places you wouldn't expect. It says, how about paying for your Taco Bell order with Dogecoin or some of Whole Foods avocado ice cream with Bitcoin? It says that's the goal of a new partnership between crypto payment processor BitPay and Verifone Inc., one of the world's largest provider of those little machines you use to pay via a credit card or Venmo at a checkout line. It says later this year, the newest Verifone terminals will start accepting payments for U.S. merchants from a range of cryptocurrency. Again, Dogecoin is one of those. Dex, what do you think about this as far as you're a crypto expert and you were in that industry for a little bit? What do you think about this happening? Did you kind of see this coming?
Well, yeah, it's got to eventually get here. Otherwise, it's not going to work. The whole point of having these cryptos was to make it so that people could actually pay for transactions. We've seen it online, and websites accepting crypto, and most of those people a lot of those people have used either Coinbase or BitPay, which is one of the big providers here. So BitPay is a payment processor that focuses, pretty much on crypto as a processing or a payment processing component for merchants. So to see them partner with, this company that what is it, Verifone? Sorry, which I don't know. Every time I check out, I pretty much see a Verifone device. They're everywhere. It's a really popular device for taking transactions. So to see them partner with that really does open up the opportunity. So I think we're going to see, I know they sort of tongue in cheek said Taco Bell. It's not like Taco Bell announced this, but, Verifone is the company they're partnering with. And Verifone, works with some big brands like American Eagle, Macy's, Williams-Sonoma, Taco Bell, Whole Foods, and many, many more. I mean, you see Veriphones everywhere you go. Just about. So
now that people know this, they'll start looking at the machines. I want to say Walmart has Verifone. You see Verifone on the kind of screen right before you put your card in. I see it everywhere. I did credit card processing at one point. I would go into businesses and try to get them, transferred over to the credit card processing company I was with, and get them a lower rate and a better machine and all of that. So I I understood that business, and in the banking industry, and then of course in the credit card processing industry, this is huge. This is, you have days like where China bans all crypto, where it goes down. I'm sure this has had a positive effect. This would be basically everywhere that uses Verifone, which is just almost everywhere, being able to accept it as a currency. So that's pretty huge. Crazy for a business too. If you're a business and you take it that day, that's another thing, Dex, though. What if it goes down by half the next day? It's like our businesses are risking something by taking this, right?
Yeah, so that's what companies like BitPay and even Coinbase do with their merchant category. They can allow you to convert your crypto immediately to fiat, and that could be a part of the service, or you can choose not to. Maybe you want to actually keep your funds in crypto because maybe you want to ride that volatility. But if you don't, and you just want to be able to accept the payment, then they typically allow you to accept the payment and then turn around and instantly, exchange it to fiat currency.
That's the question. That answers my question perfectly right there. So, will you be using it somewhere near you? I probably won't, just because I'm not on that train yet, but I know that a lot of people definitely, to get away from the fiat currency is a must. I think that gold and anything outside of investing in the fiat is a good thing. And again, I'll be sharing more on that. I'll have some people and some experts on that on soon. We definitely want to get more of the financial side in there.
Yeah, and the one last thing I'd add to this, Adam, it depends on how it works and how it rolls out and which coins you're using and how much you obfuscate your wallet. But this could provide you more anonymity, just like the cash dollar does, right? Like, when you go to a store and you pay with cash, there is no record outside of their video cameras, right? As opposed to if you pay with a credit card, there's that banking transaction that's there forever. So, if depending on, which currency and how it's, back traced, if you're looking for anonymity, being able to transact crypto at a retail store can give you more of that, what you're used to doing with cash dollars.
Which is going to be nearly impossible because, of course, in a tiny bit, they're trying to pass this thing where the IRS will monitor every transaction. Once a bank account hits $600, the IRS will be notified once it hits 600, and then actually just watch every withdrawal. So again, a lot of people didn't realize that. They thought that, instead of 5,000 now, IRS would be told when you do a $600 withdrawal. It's actually any bank account over 600 is essentially watched after that. Really crazy stuff. I don't know how they're passing all this stuff in. If you see all the things that are passing right now, I don't understand how people aren't kind of opening their eyes to what's really happening here. But I don't know. And it's very obvious Dollar Tree will sell more stuff for above $1. I remember the first time I walked into a dollar store and saw something for $2, and I was like, wait, what is this? And then, you know, it was $1 plus or something. And then I was like, okay, that makes sense. But certain dollar stores were always $1. It didn't matter what you saw it for $1. But now the dollar is worth literally nothing or almost nothing, and you get far less and less and less and less. And people are used to getting certain things there. I know that, you know, when my mom was poor, when she was really poor, we went to the dollar store all the time. We would get mac and cheese and all sorts of things from the dollar store. That was our go-to. I mean, there's not many places like it that I don't know how they got their food, but we actually got a lot of our prep kind of food, our dry foods, any of our pastas and spaghettis and things like that, SpaghettiOs, all that kind of stuff you can find at the dollar store, which I do recommend for anybody that's, you know, trying to prep too. If you can find food at the dollar store, that's a great deal. But as now, it basically is seeming more and more like it has gone up to the point where now it is not going to be $1 anymore. It is just, you know, inflation is going absolutely nuts. And just to remind you, they have printed more money in the last 2 years. 25% of all money, and it might actually be worse. I'm going on the slight end. I believe the stat may be worse than that. But I know it's at least 25% of all money worldwide has been printed in the last 2 years. I don't think people realize what this is going to do in the long term or even in the somewhat short term. We are printing money based on a system of interest. That interest doesn't exist. We're literally creating debt out of thin air, and we're creating a lot of it. So with this whole CV thing, everything that's happening, everything is going to reset. I don't understand anybody that's still arguing against a reset at this point, because at this point, how can you? In a few years from now, they are openly saying that we are stepping away from oil, or at least we're stepping away from gas-powered vehicles. We're trying to release our dependence on it. That means we have to switch to something else. The big thing forever has been that the dollar was an oil-backed, or it was the petrodollar. And now that is not going to be a thing. So what do they have to do? They have to reset all of that. And to do that, they would need something massive. And I think we are actually seeing that right now. So moving on, again, here comes $90 oil. It says here that the V-shaped recovery in the oil patch continues to take even the biggest bulls on Wall Street by surprise. Goldman Sachs ramped up its already optimistic forecast Sunday, calling for Brent crude to hit $90 a barrel by the end of the year. That's up from its previous $80. The Wall Street Bank, of course, expects U.S. crude to hit $87 a barrel, up from $77 previously. It says, quote, "Well, we have long held a bullish oil view," Goldman Sachs strategist wrote on a note to clients that the current global oil supply demand deficit is larger than we expected. Dex, do you want to pop in here? By the way, let me read this next part before you pop in. It says, the firm said that the recovery in worldwide demand from the Delta has been even faster than our above consensus forecast. So the recovery, the demand from the Delta, right? What do you think of this?
Well, I get it, like when everything shut down and, everyone was sitting at home and nobody was driving cars, prices went down, production went down. So there's this recovery time where it has to go up. And then again, I guess they thought there was going to be a sort of another shutdown, and that's what they're referring to as being the fastest recovery. But at the end of the day, we have the ability to supply the world with the amount of oil we were supplying it with before. So before all this, niceness has happened to us. So but nonetheless, all this really means is if you're investing in oil, it looks like you've got green acres ahead of you. But if you're like the rest of us who rely on oil to put in our car and drive, it's just a sign that the prices are going to keep going up. We thought they've gone up quite a bit. It has gone up significantly from this time a year ago. So almost $1 or more in some places. So, expect to pay more as we get into the colder season. Expect to pay more through the end of the year is what they're telling you. The cost of a barrel is going up. That means the cost in your tank is going up. It means your energy costs are going to go up. Let's not kid yourself. Lots of places use oil for heating, and lots of other plants, burn it just to generate electricity. So all of that going up has an effect across the board. It's not just in the cars.
Yeah, and just like the last story with the dollar store, as far as that going up and everything else, we are also, this is at the crossroads of this shortage. We're going to talk about it in a little bit, but this backlog has basically gotten to a boiling point where now businesses are going bankrupt by the hour because of their lack of inventory, of the inability to actually run their businesses. I told you guys about IKEA. Now, I don't know. I don't think IKEA will go bankrupt. I think it may even be big enough that it might be bailed out somehow. But IKEA, this is so crazy. If you didn't watch the other show, when I told you, I went there to grab essentially 2x4s for these shelving units that they sell called Hejni. They're about $15 each, and they're super cheap. Basically, they're 2x4s with a shelf, right? Well, they've been out for months, and I had the shelf part, but I needed the 2x4 parts. Now, they're custom drilled, so you can just screw it in. And they said on this day it would get it. Well, I went in on that day, and not only were they not there, the entire store, and I took a video, temporarily not available. And you go through IKEA. If you've ever been to an IKEA, it's like one big display. It's like 1,000 living rooms. You're basically going through a display on 1,000 living rooms, going through a 2-mile walk through this thing of all of these different display settings. Almost absolutely every item said temporarily unavailable. You could say, oh, well, maybe, maybe it's busy time or whatever. Then when you get to the end of IKEA, it is a warehouse. And then you grab your stuff by the aisle and bin number, and you grab it, and then you go home and you build it yourself. I know that there's probably not too many people that haven't been to IKEA, but that's how it works. You go through, you write down the bin numbers with a pencil, like a golf pencil, and then at the end you pick it. Well, to show, it was empty. I mean, all of the warehouse was empty. It was really insane to see. But then I asked, and the gentleman said, well, actually, no, we're going to be out for quite a while. In fact, we're just getting stuff from California just to kind of barely get by. And he said that the return date, technically on my computer, the majority of our stuff, the return date is August. And I said, August is last month. He said August of 2022. 1 year away. How would that store not get anything? And again, people are like, well, isn't that Swedish or this or that? Yes, but almost all of it is manufactured in China. I didn't know. I knew that they did some stuff, but I didn't realize the level of production that IKEA was doing in China. They design it, manufacture it in China, and then you build it yourself. They're pretty much like IKEA's pretty bad, actually. So again, that's huge. If a huge company like that's not getting their stuff. So if you're talking about oil raising, you're talking about power raising, you're talking about, of course, the dollar falling, and then you also have supplies totally out. We are not even to the disaster yet. People have to wake up. Like, people need to get stuff together before it gets really bad. And now, even the people that were saying all of this was fear porn a year, 2 years ago, even before, I reported on this, and I told 4 months before the CV happened, if you followed me through that time or if you're new, I went to the first patient who was here in my state. I went to that hospital, and I was there covering it, and I said, I'm here covering this thing. Nobody at that point knew how big this was going to be. I said that they were expecting a huge event, and I mean specifically a pan and a dem and an ick, right? So we saw the W, the H, and the O actually put out documents and charts saying that there was an expected pan, them, right? They showed us, and they even showed us how it would affect the world long term. And guess what? We're not nowhere close to what they say is going to happen. So people need to get their stuff together. Even the people that were, skeptics then, most of them are secretly grabbing extra water and extra food. So be prepared. And then, of course, just to add to it, bacon prices have reached record levels. Here's why they might not go down anytime soon. It says, and hankering for pork chops is costing you about 7% more than 12 months ago. The average price of that slab of bacon is to accompany the Sunday morning spread has jumped nearly 28% during the last 12 months. It says inflation-adjusted consumer price index data show. It says the supply chain issues and the inflationary pressures that have become all too common in these times certainly have played their role in the pork price hikes. Alongside the slew of industry-specific influence, President JB administration, for its part, believe prices are high because a couple of large companies control the majority of what the market share is, and has outlined plans to level the playing field. Dex, is he saying he's going to knock down a few of these big companies or something, or add more, or what does that mean?
It certainly sounds like it. I think the stat is something like 60% of all of the pork is run by 4 companies here in America. But, there's a lot of other things that go into this. If you remember last year, everybody had a run on freezers. And so a lot of people bought a lot of meat and started storing it. So there was, demand has been high, and that demand continued, and that demand's on the retail side, not so much the restaurant side, because that didn't come back as quickly. And while it is, it's just not the same. But we're seeing so much more demand, and I think that they're estimating that we'll end this year about 2% less production than we did last year for pork. So if you think about that, if the demand is higher and you're going to actually produce less, then prices are still going to naturally be higher, just because it's going to have to go up. So there's a combination of a lot of things, whether it's, there's also global flus that affect hogs that are happening. They haven't hit America. If they did, that'd be a really bad thing, but they have hit other places in China and in other parts of the world, which does affect the supply, and we export. So if their demand is high and they're losing animals, then they're obviously going to be buying more or willing to pay more, right? Which will drive our prices up. So all of these things are sort of compounding onto this issue. And it's not just pork, it's a lot of things, but pork's a really good example. And I know it all too well because I used to buy pork bellies, and I refuse to buy them anymore because they're so expensive now. I used to make my own bacon, but this is a very good article if you want to read a lot of the details about what are the different factors that have gone into this. The fact that they threw away millions of meat when the plants shut down, that couldn't be processed and things like that. All of that stuff just sort of contributed to this large, issue of having the prices go up. And now, it's not easy for them to go back down. If you're a retailer and you're selling, pork at this higher price, you're not quick to just drop the price back down. And at the same time, if you're these conglomerates that are managing, 60% of the market, you're not also necessarily in a position to just want to drop the prices right back down either. So there's a lot of factors at play here.
Well, and we've shown you so many other examples. It's like Dex said, it's not just bacon. It's pretty much anything you can think of that is kind of an essential right now. Your milk, your dairy, all of the kind of stuff that pretty much every household has in their fridge at any time. Orange juice, any kind of fruit, vegetable, any kind of export, import, everything and anything is up. So, I mean, it's kind of a doomy thing, but I mean, this is where we're at. This is why people prep. I do want to say thank you to Franny Cascadia. It says, Kilauea volcano is erupting. We will check on that. It says it went from yellow, orange, red alert to erupting in 1 hour and a half. Go to Twitter USGS to see. Dex, if we can load that, that's so. By the way, we had 25 as of the filming of the episode a couple days ago. 25 volcanoes around the world were erupting, and it seemed like though something is moving inside the Earth. Something is going on, right? More than usual. I don't know. I'm not an expert in that field, but one thing that I do know is, like I said the other day, somebody said when I posted the 11-hour-old story on how this La Palma erupted. Somebody said, oh, well, that's not really a big deal. It was a minor eruption and it was 11 hours ago. It's not a singular event. It doesn't happen in 10 minutes and then it's over. It's not like it pops its cork and then, hey, see you later. Oh, good thing we missed that one. The average eruption lasts 10 years. So Kilauea kind of did pop its cork before a few months ago or a year ago, however long it was. It's going to continue to go. It could go again. It could go big. It could really screw up the Hawaiian Islands. We haven't seen a massive one near society, at least, one that is in the Western world and that has really wiped out a lot of people. I'm hoping never to see something like Mount Rainier or any of the ones here go off. There's tons of them. If you look at the West Coast, the Ring of Fire is insane. It's all loaded. Everywhere you go, there's just volcano. It's almost like in the Ring of Fire, or especially on the West Coast, there's not many places you can go without being near a volcano. I don't know if most people know that. Black and Blue 225, thanks for subscribing. But Franny, we will make sure to update anything that's going on. And then I know that Dex is already on it. Granny C, thank you so much for your support tonight. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting Independent. Again, Ho Operator says, has anyone looked at John McAfee data dump that started this morning? So also going to update you on that as well. We will most likely, a lot of that might end up on the web only. I wonder if that was a kill switch or something that happened that flipped on. But again, I don't know as much. I only found out about it about 2 hours ago. And then Alphabet Soup conducting a major LARP, counter T, and active bang bang exercise called Operation Thunderstruck this weekend in Kentuckiana. Again, gunpowder. If you have links, tweet them to me on at Marfoogle. And then Lola Cafe, thank you. Dex, while you check on that, I'm going to play a video real quick. And let's make sure that we have this up and believe it's going.
I'm the former ICE director. My name is Tom Holman. I'm the former ICE director under President Donald Trump. And I'm here to ask America to wake up. You can protect yourself, and at the same time protect this great nation. The threat of electromagnetic pulse is real, EMP. If you don't know what it is, look it up. It's a matter of life and death. I recently partnered with a Midwest company, veteran-owned, that has developed a device you can hook up to your home or your vehicle to protect you against an EMP. I highly encourage you to go to EMPshield.com and research this device. Again, it will protect you, in the long term, protect this great nation. Thank you.
Now, if you have not seen EMP Shield before, it is our affiliate. We were with them before a lot of their contracts. Of course, now they're working with agencies like DOD, DHS, Department of Homeland Security, and then, of course, the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. The government, the military, pretty much all of the executive and judiciary branches, they're all protecting themselves. But they're not. There's nothing in any bill that I see that's, putting them in residential houses. So when or if this happens again, when is on the Carrington level solar event that is expected that happens every 150 years. We're at 160 right now. When that happens, or if we have the man-made version, an EMP hit on us. This will end up protecting or saving lives. So again, I hope that everybody ends up going over and looking at this. This is really important. We've shown you this is one of the largest threats against the United States and allies. If you are in the UK, if you're in Australia, if you're in any country, Japan, that is allied with us, then this is something that is being heavily pushed. We even have a story in just a minute about, of course, NK supposedly launching a hypersonic. So this is something that, they're not going to do for you, and they're not going to come and save you when this happens. If there was a blackout, 90% of us, they say, would perish. And that's not because we would, everything would blow up. it would be for a lack of water. So one thing you can also do, if you can't afford this, make sure to have extra water, extra food, extra everything. And again, you will end up getting $50 off if you go through our link, and you will end up helping us out. This is a family-owned, veteran-owned business. It's 100% American-made in Kansas. These things are absolutely amazing. This is a surge protector on steroids. This is a military-tested, Keystone-tested EMP shield. Again, that's marfooglenews.com/EMP. Every sale, you end up getting a giant discount on, and it stacks on top of any sale they currently do. Again, and it helps your favorite channel. If you want to see us in a year, make sure to at least try to give us a like, a subscribe, or again, share us out on Facebook. But if you want to go a step further, make sure to support our affiliates. That is part of how the YouTube ecosystem works. So thank you. Speaking of that, Amanda Pantano says, how can they use our tax dollars to change Scranton Expressway to President JB Expressway in PA? We don't want it. I'll send some pics of how people deal with that. LOL. Scranton Expressway. Is this Ohio? I don't know is that where Scranton is? I believe, isn't that where the office is, like, the office is staged in or something? Either way, thank you everybody that has already gone over and done that. Is it Okay, never mind. Pennsylvania. So is that where the office is set?
It's where he was born and lived for a few months, I think.
Oh, wow. I did not know that. And then we have the backlog of cargo ships at the port of LA reaches boiling point. This is pretty huge as far as everything that is going on here. Let me pull this up real quick. Let's see. And
so this is a different stat, Adam, than we've seen before. My
name is Tom Holman. I'm the former ICE director and a president.
Sorry, guys. What was that? It was a different stat.
I was saying this is a different statistic than we've seen before. Typically we've talked about 40 ships, 50 ships, 76 ships, or something like that was the last time we reported. Now they're estimating how many containers, which is kind of interesting because we'd asked how many containers are on a ship, and of course it's all varies depending on how much weight is in each container and what size ship they are. But they're estimating it's basically about 500,000 containers are sitting on the ships outside of Southern California coast, which is that's a lot.
Okay, so
think about it.
So, by the way, these are on average, I believe they're 40-yard containers or longer. They might be bigger than 40 yards, actually. I don't know what the largest size is. If somebody knows that, you can drop it in the chat. Again, there are a ton of people here, at least it looks like 4,000 over on YouTube, and who knows over on DLive. Again, crazy numbers. Think about that. 500,000 of these things, just like 3 or 4, or even 2 of these is the size of a house. So you basically almost have 250,000 houses sitting out in the water that, are basically full of stuff that we could be using right now. That is absolutely insane to me. I don't understand this. How are they not, even if they have a shortage and people are working overtime and they're understaffed, they don't have crane operators, how in the hell is this not, how do they not fix this? How do they not get temp workers in there to speed it up or something with all the money that's being thrown around? If you know the answer to that question, please put it in the comments down below. Let me just read a part of this. It says an estimated 500,000 containers are sitting on cargo ships off of the Southern California coast. Many are wondering how to handle the backlog. Few are more frustrated about the backlog at the port of Los Angeles and Long Beach than truck drivers in the chaos. They say that the trucker shortage is not the problem. Instead, the port needs to speed up wait times and have more dock help ready to offload. This is exactly what I'm saying. Get some temp workers, go to freaking labor ready, get some homeless dudes to sit there and do whatever. I did it. I would do this if I was doing temp work. It says, I've got friends right now that are in line from 9 o'clock in the morning and they can't pull the load yet. Said truck driver Walter Martinez, the people inside, they get paid by the hour, but not the drivers. Some blame outdated infrastructure, importers with nowhere to store the containers, and dock help not keeping up with demand. That's BS. That is total BS. It says, last night I was here from 8 o'clock to 3 in the morning. They kicked me out because they leave at 3 o'clock. There's one crane for 60 trucks, and it's ridiculous. They have 2 other cranes sitting. Gene Soroka, the executive director of the Port of Los Angeles, said that he has just started a new program called Accelerate Cargo LA. It says, and he's asking for the Federal Reserve System to step in and help. I'm just blown away by this. How, this is hurting businesses. Like I said, by the hour, businesses are now going bankrupt because of this screw up. Just as bad, people, the media is going after JB for the border and going after him for, this foreign debacle in Afghan. Why are they not going after him for this? Like, why isn't the government, why haven't they fixed this? Like, this is crazy. Something is wrong here. Do you think that there is something wrong here? Press 1 for there's something wrong, 2 for you don't know, and 3 for you don't think that you think this is normal. This is just absurd. I think that honestly, we are going to see such a collapse. It's not even funny. So I hope that people understand that, what we're trying to communicate here is that we can all make it. There's no reason to be afraid of what is to come if you are prepared, both mentally and physically and spiritually. I guess that would be all 3, right? Let's see. Darth V. Kick them while they are down. Engineered, says Darth V. I think Deborah is saying that this is aliens. Obama gave the Port of LA to who? Who runs the Port of LA? That's a good question. Hey, Dex, do you know who runs the Port of LA? I think this might be a hard one. Do you know, Dex? It's
If I don't know, Adam. You tell me.
China. Or they at least have a big chunk of it controlled. Look at these containers. Look at the what's in common. Yang Ming. All of these companies right here. A ton of these are coming from China. In fact, look, China shipping. All of these. Almost all of them are from China or from Malaysia or from Asia. It's unbelievable. All from China, says Patrick Hunman. Nikki Nebula says none of those containers are being shipped back. So, okay, so just that statement right there, none of them are being shipped back. Okay, Cynthia says Evergreen. This isn't because of that ship that stopped for 4 days. This is not because of the, what was that strait? The Strait of Hormuz. This is not because of that. Suez. Thank you. Sorry about that. Hormuz is the one that will have the Fantastic Freddy in at some point, I'm sure. But as far as we're not sending them back, that would be a creepy statement if that was true. One thing that I have pointed out is China has basically cut everything Western world out. What if we're not getting anything from China? What if they haven't told us that just everything just stopped from China, period? What if we're getting the last of what was headed its way, and maybe they are trying to hold that because they know we're not getting any more? Have you thought about that, Dex? Look at everything that's just dried up all of a sudden. Within a matter of weeks, China cut out every English-speaking school, which is essentially basically the only reason that any foreigner was able to stay in China was to teach English, or if they're a specialist, so say like a doctor or something else. You cannot get a job in China as a janitor or as a construction worker. Those jobs are reserved for the people of China. You can't do it as a foreigner. You can't own a business without having a Chinese partner that actually owns it. And by the way, those Chinese partners don't even own the land that it's on. I believe they're not even, I don't think that they, I don't know how that works, but I don't think a foreigner can even own land there or anything else. You can have, you have these like special deals, right? If you want to correct me on that, I could be wrong on as far as owning with a partner. I believe you have to have a business partner in China. Maybe that's only in English speaking, but again, what they just did is on top of the propaganda, people say, oh, it's just propaganda, as far as them banning effeminate men and banning any kind of television or entertainment where someone is idolized. The Chinese government does not want its Chinese people idolizing anyone outside of China. They don't even want their own Chinese superstars. The woman who was a superstar there, they basically silenced her on the internet. They silenced several people. They basically deleted them from their intranet. So you can no longer find these people because they don't want that anymore. They want you to look up to the government and only the government. On top of that, everything that has been transpiring over there as far as converting all of their civilian ships to basically drop ships. And then you, of course, have, everybody trying to make it look like everything is still fine. Even Elon Musk, I don't know if he's playing a part for the government trying to calm nerves, but he's saying, oh, no, we're going to continue to do business in China. Why is he even saying that? Oh, yeah, no, we're going to continue to invest over there, and no, China is going to be right there. When almost anybody, even, Warren Buffett, I'm sorry, it was Soros. George even said it was a horrible and absolutely huge mistake to invest anything over there right now, and he even called it a national security matter. So what is that supposed to mean? And on August 29th, China put out an article saying that the USA was behind all of this world event and that it was created in a base here. So people go, ha, 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 that's funny because we're saying the same thing, right? But what's not funny is that they just told every citizen through their taken as gospel mouthpieces that we are the enemy. That we are the reason that they are being held down, that we are the reason for everything bad in the world. So whether it's true or not, doesn't really matter in the way of that it is definitely bad. So they are preparing mentally, physically, militarily to do something huge. And as far as all of this, they could say, oh, yeah, it's just a shortage because of the Suez, right? Or it's a shortage because of drivers because, you have to have this certain status or whatever else. Meanwhile, almost every state that I see has National Guard filling in for nurses, for drivers, even school bus drivers. That really creeps me out. The school bus driving thing, that creeps me out because any apocalyptic movie you've ever seen shows school buses being used by the military to cart people out or to evacuate or to get people out of the danger zone. But military is now replacing almost every job that is now empty. Now we have state troopers across the country leaving and quitting because they don't want to do a certain thing. Guess who's going to replace them? So somehow we are able to put military all over the country and nobody is really saying, hey, could this be for something else? Like maybe we're actually posting up military in every state because something's about to happen. Meanwhile, we are actually landing A-10 Warthogs and other ships, what was the other one? Hercules or not Hercules, the other big one. C-130s. Landing those on highways. Same with Taiwan. They're doing the same thing. Why do you do that? Well, that's because your airstrip has been, boomed. It's been destroyed. So you have to use what you have. In the U.S., we have highways. Same with the UK, all these other places. The only way you would use a highway for this is if your bases and your airstrips got knocked down. At the very same time, we've been drilling for 3 years, basically doing everything in the dark, doing everything without GPS, and now they have confirmed that China and Russia, through the DoD, have confirmed of direct energy, and that they are working on EMP, all of this other stuff to knock out all of our satellites, everything else. On top of all of this, we have everything that has been going down in every other country. Military has basically all but taken over in Australia, which, again, most people thought that Australia would actually be physically confronting China before we would. So somehow military just took over the entire country. Dex, I think I'm missing something too. There was another big thing that, tonight we're going to show you. They just deployed at least 17, possibly more than 20 refuelers, these huge ships, and they're drilling for something. They're drilling for flying up in the air and refueling jets. So pretty trippy stuff. It's starting to be very obvious, but of course, mainstream and everything else is just going to say business as usual. But why are all of these things happening at the same time? A lot of people think that China just declared war with the U.S. when they did that piece on the 29th. People have taken it as gospel in China. It's a big deal. So, Australia was taken over by the... Oh, yes. Something is wrong, says Sunsets on the Golfer. Amazing. Michael E. God will destroy. Let's see. Rohan, in Michigan, can't have a job unless you are J-Habers. And try to be careful, guys, just so we don't get... it would really suck if they took away our ability to have things down there, right? We are at war with our gov. Wide awake and angry. Android Architect. It did declare war today. Android. We'll talk about that here in a second. And then Lola Cafe, thank you so much for your support. Global Impact says the Guard can't unload ships, but can step into medical positions to push the... I don't know. There's something bigger is going on here. Nestor Ojeda says, hey, Adam, funny how New York is using National Guard to supplant perfectly capable workers, and California isn't doing the same to prevent shortages. What is this? Due to the port debacle. Sorry, it keeps scrolling up so I can only see half the word. Hold on. Yeah, it says... Yeah, so they're replacing that. Why have they not used National Guard? That's a really good point. So Nestor Ojeda says, why haven't they brought in some of these hundreds or thousands of National Guard to fix this port situation? Maybe there's not much to unload. Who knows? After those ships are gone, is there anything more coming? Illinois man dies of rabies after waking up with a bat on his neck. First human case in the state since 1954. Dex, do you want to talk about this?
Okay, this is just absolutely creepy. So imagine waking up and there's a bat like eating your neck. That would just creep me out. And that's what happened here. This man found a bat on his neck, and when he woke up, and now I guess he's unfortunately deceased from rabies, which he caught from the bat. So kind of a crazy story in the sense that, it's really rare that you hear about, rabies infections in people because they just don't happen that often. It usually takes some sort of, rabid animal and a bite to get all that to actually happen. And we've done a pretty good job, trying to control rabies, especially with pets. Domestic animals are all, they have a system for that we can't say that word because it's like other systems that are out there. But yeah, so it's just kind of absolutely crazy because you don't hear this much. So for a guy to wake up with a bat on him and then boom, he passes with rabies, that's kind of crazy.
As far as the bat, they're creepy in general, but one feeding, I can't believe that the guy died. Like, did he not go to the hospital? It says Illinois has recorded first human case of rabies since 1954, state and suburban public officials say on Tuesday. A resident in North Suburban Lake County in his 80s woke up one day last month and found a bat on his neck, the Illinois Department of Public Health said. How did he, this guy must have been some kind of, he was like really napping hard if he didn't feel like initially poke and just get it right off. But it looks like from what they said, it was like feeding there while he was sleeping. And like, how do you not feel that? But I guess I've seen some older guys that are just kind of a little bit out of it. In fact,
maybe it was Dracula.
Yeah. Well, I know that there are some older guys that are just so out of it they don't even know where they are. They need lists of what to do every day. Usually need to call a lid on things by noon. The bat was captured and tested positive for rabies. Doctors advised the man to begin treatment, but he declined. That's so stupid. The guy, but maybe that's his free will right there. He declined it. It's sad, but he had the right to do that. Ugh, no, thank you. If you had that on your neck, they're actually kind of cute when you take away the body and the creepy claws and wings, and if they don't open their mouth, and you don't have a reflection off their eyes, and they're not hanging upside down, like, why do they even do that? Can't you just sit on a, can't you just perch like other animals? Just perch. Northern Star, weird, is this a joke? No, that's real. That is real. Somebody died of rabies for the first time since 1954. Bansalem police warn parents to be on alert during Halloween for possible cannabis candies. This is just dumb. It says that Pennsylvania, while Halloween may be a month away, police are warning parents to take a good, hard look at their child's candy. Unfortunately, there's a lot of sick and evil people out there in this world we live in. Okay, I don't even want to pass this on. This is something that's out there, but as far as the stories, come on. This is stupid. This is like the razor blade in the apple. Did you know that was a myth? That was an urban myth.
Yeah, we heard that when I was a kid too. Yeah, and everybody was like, "Oh, check your apples. You got razor blades on them."
The worst thing that's going to happen is they're not going to have Halloween candy the next day. Just kidding. I don't think somebody's really going to do this, and they always do that. They always say this, but okay, they're just trying to make people evil and distract people with one more thing to worry about or talk about at the water cooler other than what they're actually doing, right? Everybody at work is going to go, "Hey, did you hear they're putting THC in the children, the candies?" Now people are so paranoid, it's like everybody has to walk behind their kids. It's literally like, it's just not like it used to be. We used to go out and we would do it until like 11. We would wake people up. We didn't care if their lights were off. We'd knock, knock, knock. You'd see them, light on, come to the door. Well, it's 11. Candy, by ourselves. That's how it was. You could go out all night and that was Halloween, man. Now it's like you're afraid of razor blades and THC candy and crack cocaine. Come on. Oh, and weirdos, clowns, whatever else. Somebody said 20 milligrams each. Yeah. Tricked out treats. Sure, we could come up with some puns for that one. It was a real treat when you got a full-sized candy bar. Well, I guess Lynn Go said, yeah, but if the people handing you that full-size candy bar hand that to you and say, only eat a quarter at a time. Otherwise, you'd be way too far out, man.
Yeah, I heard they're starting early this year, around 420.
Yeah. That's good. $1 trillion coin, Washington eyes solution to budget impasse. What is this all about, Dex?
Okay, so there's actually a loophole in the system that would allow I guess it's the president to ask the Treasury to create a coin and put a denomination on it of any amount he wants. So, and literally, he could say, "Hey, Treasury Secretary, I need you to mint $1 trillion coin. Just mint one of them. Label it as $1 trillion, and then we're going to deposit that into the Federal Reserve, and then we can now have and use that, just like printing money, right? We'll just make $1 trillion coin, and we can deposit it, and then we can use that to fund everything that we want to do in government." And actually, there's a way around it. It's not new. It's actually been talked about before. So they've discussed this back in 2017 and 2013. It has not, it's sort of a gray area, but it's actually been discussed as options when it comes down to dealing with, this looming shutdown that's coming if they don't, resolve the debt ceiling and coming up with the budget and figuring out how we're going to fund everything going forward. Right?
But where does this money come from? They're literally just making it out of nothing.
Exactly. Just create $1 trillion coin and boom, deposit it.
And are they being like hypothetical, or would this be like a Bitcoin type thing, or is this an actual coin worth $1 trillion? Like if somebody robbed it and said like, "Ha ha, I got your $1 trillion coin, got your trillion." Is that something that could happen? I know they probably wouldn't have that voice, but
it would probably be a literal coin. It would be minted. It has to be currency. So
wow. I got your $1 million. Got your $1 million trillion. Got your $1 trillion. For some reason, that's what I hear when I think of our president. Melissa Schumann, what is going on? You and your husband are so awesome. Thank you, Brendan Henschel. If you guys haven't checked out the Melissa Schumann show, awesome, clean show, very, very awesome. She has a lot of fun over there. And then her husband, Brendan Henschel, both amazing people. They are, I believe, a power couple on D Live. They are very sweet. Make sure to go over and support them both. They're awesome people. Thank you for supporting. If I see you more often, I still haven't been able to host Brendan. In fact, I even forgot to host Vault 1-1 the other night, so I apologize. We will make sure if we see you on to host you, because I do like introducing people to good creators like you. Divine 1122, thank you. Priscilla R, Chance Paladin, Jump Master, Bear Claws, and Sammy Lee, thank you so much. Divine 1122 says, "You're amazing. Light of love, everyone." Well, thank you. Cloud Farrell says, "Fam." And then we have, of course, Durango X Nubaru. Thank you. It will all happen at once. Get your popcorn, says Divine 1122. And then LL Luna 3377. Thank you for the Ninja Genie. Thank you for bestowing that upon us. Thank you. I appreciate that. Carolina Roots says, "In bed, long week. Marf, Dex, Mods, and fam." Carolina Roots says, "Hubby had kidney stone. Long week. Love the fam." Carolina Roots, I'm praying for your husband, and I hope that he gets better. Luckily, it's that and not something, far worse. I know that that's no fun. But again, obviously, we've got so many people in pain and everywhere now. General Poon says, "Mega teabag." And Lisa K23, thank you so much for your support. Lisa K23 as well says, "Get extra pants now at today's prices. Get extra parts." I need glasses. Get extra parts. Extra parts now. And extra pants. Because
pants are good too.
Once you see tomorrow's prices, you're going to need some. Jay Howard, Texas, thank you for following. Luke Slip, thank you for the lemon. Scooby-Doo right. Easy going. I appreciate all of you guys over on D-Live. D-Live fam, thank you guys. Awesome, amazing people over there. All right, and then Dex. In a second here, we're going to talk about, of course, the 3D tech. We're going to be going about the deployment of a very, very specific plane We are also going to be talking about, of course, NK firing a hypersonic, or possibly doing so. And then we're also going to be talking about Dynetics beats out the Iron Dome contract. Sydney's UNV warned of social isolation. Lots of stuff happening there. And then, of course, I don't even want to talk about this one. I'm not going to talk about it. You guys don't even know what's coming. Not in a good way. So not in a good way. Okay. First off, though, I do want to remind you, if you end up getting 3 months supply from My Patriot Supply, you end up getting $100 off right now with our code. If you want to end up going to a one-stop shop for everything you need for prep reasons, go to marfooglenews.com/prep. Again, they have everything from iodine pills to full 3-month, 6-month, all sorts of different supplies of foods, water filtration, air purification, survival gear, of course, radios, emergency radios, anything you can think of, power banks, anything you want to survive, it will be at this one-stop shop. So again, go to marfooglenews.com/prep. Not only will you be supporting your favorite channel, again, and helping us protect ourselves, you will also be helping an awesome company and be getting a discount at the same time. Make sure to head over there. There's tons of deals right now. In fact, I believe there's 3 or 4 deals that are only good for the next few days, so make sure to go check those out. I believe they all revolve around different products like water filtration and air purification. And then, of course, survival food. All right, and then that's, again, marfooglenews.com/prep. That's marfooglenews.com/prep. And it's good. It's good food. Dex, let's talk about this 3D tech that brings faces of 200-year-old Egyptian mummies back to life.
Wow. Yeah. So what they have done is they've actually started to use DNA. They've had some experiments they've done in the past using, analyzing DNA from, mummies and things like that. But now what they're doing is taking this DNA and using new algorithms where they can create 3D reconstruction of the faces of what these people would have actually looked like. Then there's multiple models. They'll run them through these different models, and then they'll, sort of merge them together to get the best estimation of what, the facial structure of that, human based on the DNA that they were able to extract would look like. So this is kind of an interesting thing because we've never, outside of, looking at, a mold or a sculpture or, sarcophagus or whatever that have been there for these different Egyptians, like these old ancient mummies, but we don't really know what they look like. And now with technology, they're saying that they actually think they can create what the face looks like. They're not just creating a human. This is just a picture, a computer picture, but to be able to generate this 3-dimensional image so that you could see what potentially that person looked like from,
their DNA
thousands of years ago, from their DNA. Yeah.
So I guess the way to prove it is if they took somebody like my DNA, took it and did this without seeing pictures of me and then did it through this. That would be a trip. I wonder how accurate this is. That is pretty crazy. And then,
by the way, that title was at a missing 0. It's 2,000-year-old, so it's not 200-year-old.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird how
only a couple hundred years ago.
It's weird how some of the conversions on our apps do that. And then we have one man's endless hunt for a dopamine rush in virtual reality. It says on a recent Thursday evening in City Life Community Center in Missoula, Montana, Wolf Heffelfinger, is that right? Wolf Heffelfinger played laser tag. Wearing a pair of heavy goggles, he bobbled across the gymnasium, firing faux laser guns with both hands. It was not only all that different from any other game of laser tag, except he was playing in virtual reality. As he and a friend raced around the gym, he saw himself sprinting down the neon-lit corridors of a spacecraft. So did his friend. With virtual reality goggles strapped over their eyes, they could not see each other, but they could chase each other in an imaginary world. For Mr. Heffelfinger, a 48-year-old musician, entrepreneur, and free spirit, the game was another step in a decade-long obsession with virtual reality. Since the arrival of the seminal Oculus headset in 2013, he has played games in virtual reality, watched movies, visited distant lands, and assumed new identities. He says he sees his virtual adventures as a relentless search for the dopamine rush that comes with the technology takes him somewhere new. It says, it says, he has put many headsets on his shelf where they have sat for months, but when advances arrive, he leaps back in. Mr. Heffelfinger's on and off preoccupation synchronizes with the tech industry's on and off affair with virtual reality, investing billions in a concept that has for several years appeared just a few steps from going mainstream without quite getting there. Now, virtual reality technology may be another step closer to a mass market, with Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg and other well-known executives heralding the arrival of the metaverse, a digital world where people can communicate virtual reality or via virtual reality and other new yet-to-be-invented technologies, and repeated rumors that Apple will jump into the mix. So, Dex, what I'm assuming is they're making this environment for anybody to put these goggles on, like the Oculus, like the Hive, like the HTC Hive, and all of these others. They are making this kind of environment where they can put it on and then go into kind of a real world sandbox environment with millions of people. Is that what I'm picking up from this?
And what we're looking at here is this notion that we as humans are going to enjoy life better in a virtual world than in our real world, right? And that's what we're seeing here in like this example with Heffelfinger is, he's talking about how much he enjoys and gets, a dopamine rush of, going into these virtual worlds and literally being immersed in it as a, not just like the old days of playing a role player game or immersing yourself in some sort of game. This is, you're putting on goggles and you're really taking on, a full on 3-dimensional, virtual reality. Right. And so this is one of the evolutions we're going to continue to see. And yeah, it has taken a while. It has slowly progressed. But, when you watch science fiction movies, you see, these rooms and people walk in and boom, it's all of a sudden a virtual world and they can, feel or act like they're anywhere. And, there may come the day where this isn't even done with a goggle. It's done with a plug in the back of your head. Where you're plugged into the system like Neuralink, right? And all of a sudden you go off into a virtual world if you so choose, or if they so choose to put you there, right? So that's kind of it's kind of a scary thing when you think about it. I mean, sure, there's some fun involved, and playing laser tag may be fun without having to actually run around. You could just stand still, but
no. Or by the way, Oculus, you can with the Quest Go, you actually move. So they said, you can be in a gymnasium and actually run, and you set these parameters so it actually shows you kind of a virtual layout of where the walls are. So if you run within 5 feet of that wall, it shows you that you're close. So people can actually run around in open spaces with the Quest and other headsets. It's really trippy. If you haven't tried it yet, Dex, I highly recommend going over to somebody's house that has it, because
that was the other thing that
crazy.
Shocked me was that he's going to a community center, and on one floor they're playing laser tag, and on another floor they're playing paintball, but it's all virtual, right? So I didn't even know that exists. I mean, I knew that the goggles existed, I knew the technology was there, I've seen them before, but I've never really immersed myself into it. But I didn't realize there's this is now a thing. You go somewhere and you can actually do this.
Well, when you see if you see the image that we have here, right here, for somebody who doesn't know how this kind of gives you a reality outside of it, it has cameras. So those 2 dots on the front and then the 2 dots on the top, it actually helps with the gyrometers or gyroscopes or whatever is inside of it. That helps judge how it's moving and if you're looking up, down, wherever. But it also is their actual video cameras, videoing everything around you in the real life. So most of them you can actually go in and turn on pass-through, which means you can see what's outside of the goggles in a black and white kind of picture thing. You actually map before you start where everything is. So if there's furniture, you can map around it. You can even make a very specific shape if you have to walk around a table. It's super weird. Dex, if you haven't tried it, I would definitely try somebody else's. For Oculus, you have to have Facebook. I didn't do Oculus because of the Facebook thing. And then my friend who did do it, he ended up using his cousin's Facebook to sign up for it, because you are forced to sign up for it. And guess what? I bet you Apple and all these other things, it's going to force you. That's the thing. To get the new Oculus, to do this kind of technology, you have to sign up for Facebook. That's incredible. A lot of people were really pushed back on that, but it doesn't matter. Then don't play our headset. That's what they said. Dianetics beat out Iron Dome for $237 million Army missile defense contract. Dianetics won a prototype contract to produce the Army's indirect fire protection capability. Dianetics' Enduring Shield system officially beat out a variant of Israel's famous Iron Dome capability for a new U.S. Army contract, the first such win for the Leidos subsidiary's new system. The $237 million contract to develop a cruise missile interceptor for the Army's indirect fires protection capability was announced on late September 24th. Dynetics will deliver 16 launcher prototypes, 60 fieldable interceptor prototypes, and all-up round magazines under the 2.5-year contract. Really, really crazy stuff here. In a 2.5-year contract, that's pretty fast, especially considering what is going on right now. Dex, do you find that time frame kind of short?
Well, yeah, it certainly is, and they beat out Raytheon, who we know does a lot of this work. So beating them out and beating out the famous Iron Dome is kind of a big deal. I don't this is just one of many applications for these types of defense systems. So don't take this as this one thing took out the Iron Dome. No, it's just one specific thing that they're not going to use it for. Instead, they'll use this system, or at least develop the system for it. But yeah, there's the timing is very interesting. That's obviously being rushed to market, or to the field, so to speak, very quickly.
That's why I believe we're very close to something, closer than farther. If you look at the timeline, this is something that's been prepared for years and years, if not decades. Let's see here. By the way, Philly Irish Lass, thank you so much for your support of tonight's show with a super sticker. I appreciate that. Cute one at that. And then Kayleen, thank you as well for the super sticker, a $20 super sticker for both of you. Thank you so much. Thanks for supporting us, guys. Ebrin Good says chemical spill in Portage, Indiana, Lake Michigan. Dex, if we could pull that up. And
I think we covered that last night. Lake Michigan.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Near Indiana.
Yes, that's right. So Ebrin, you can actually go to our website. We have more information on our website on marfooglenews.com. That's right. Why does it say Portage, Indiana? I thought it was. Are you sure this isn't a separate leak? Was it Lake Michigan?
Yeah, Lake Michigan's at the north of Indiana.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it's up there. It's the same place.
That's right.
It was the rusty looking water that nobody knows.
That's right. That's right. Okay. And they don't know what the color, why it's the funky, and they're testing it, right? Yeah.
They're testing it, and they shut down water supplies for certain areas till they could figure out what's going on, because it's contaminated, obviously.
Oh, and I asked everybody if they would drink brown water or something. Jillian's Gems, thank you so much for your support. And Esther Ojeda says, Again, thank you. Hey, Adam, funny that they're not doing that. I agree with you on that. Jillian Gems, I appreciate you. And then over on D-Live, thank you, everybody that has popped in so far. Snowboard, I love Jesus forever. Scooby-Doo, do right. We've got D Frustrated, says, YT, I was going to leave Wino D-Live. God wins. D Frustrated says, 8, be prepared, please. SHT is going down. Red October, pray. And then China is taking our kids quickly. Please wake up. Well, I don't know if they're taking I'm sure that there's a good chunk of them getting their brains taken by TikTok and all of these others. Original Throck, thank you for just following. Thank you all of the new people that have followed. Let's see. A newer bag, thank you so much. Cod Dizel, thank you so much for your support. Akarushi, I appreciate that. To all the creators that have stopped in tonight and supported, again, thank you so much. Mario's 88, thank you for following. Wait a second, is that Original The Rock? Okay, mispronounced. And then we have, of course, at least 17 KC-135s were rapidly launched out of Fairchild Air Force Base this morning. Okay, so we have a picture of this, right? So I even have a better one for here. So this is a KC-135 actually fueling a jet. So to give you kind of a size comparison, I'm not familiar with the name of that jet. Just take a general F-16. I'm sure that's an F-22 457 Hawk, and I'm an expert, and I flew them every day at kindergarten. Okay, I get it. That's a size comparison, though. That is a jet. A human being is that little tiny dot. So this is a gigantic plane. 17 at least were rapidly deployed or rapidly left out of Fairchild Air Force Base. What are these used for, folks? They're used for refueling jets. So just kind of want to put this in your brain right now. This is, it's not, by itself, it's one thing. With everything else that is happening right now, please, people, don't follow your gut on this stuff. Look at what is physically happening compared to what they're saying is happening. It's very obvious something massive is being planned. They are preparing for something, and then at the same time, they've got all these other agendas. And everybody is so confused. Do you know what the biggest way to just completely and utterly make people useless is just fill their brain with so much other crap that they can't focus on what's actually happening. This is actually happening. People are focused on everything. Focused on the V, focused on this, focused on that. We're so busy arguing about that. We're not, I don't think most people are noticing that China is basically cutting out America. We're about to hit war. Not only that, there's weird stuff going on. Why is China building a miles-long structure in space? Why are we talking about getting to Mars this super quick and getting there? Are they going to have like some sort of, a certain elite number of people that are going to get off Earth for this coming disaster, right? Just a theory. What the hell is this? Do you know what this reminds me of, Dex? This reminds me of Greenland.
Right.
Do you remember the scene out of Greenland when all of these things were flying out of there? Oh man, let me. That is just so creepy.
So they got an update. It's not in our article, but it is on the website. So if you guys go and want to see what's been updated, but what basically came out from the 92nd Air Refueling Wing, they said that they launched a 20-ship minimal interval takeoff, and it was an impressive feat. Boasting the largest takeoff of KC-135s at the Air Force Base there ever. They said they launched more refuelers than are owned by whole countries. So it was kind of a big thing. They did it. They lined them up in an elephant walk, and it was part of a proficiency and readiness exercise. So obviously, readiness exercises we've heard a lot about. These exercises and drills that they keep running. This is a kind of a big deal. We know that this is, they need to make sure that they can take 20 of these aircraft and line them up and get them up in the sky immediately. And they're doing it. They're proving they can do it, and they're making sure that they're ready for what's coming.
Why would you, and this is a very specific kind of plane, Dex. This plane is to keep other jets up in the sky, is it not?
Yeah, these are refueling. They specifically they're full of fuel. They're basically giant, gas stations in the sky. They go up and they just circle around and refuel all sorts of planes.
Including Air Force One, which, or the what is the other plane that is called the Doomsday plane? What is that called? It's not called the Mercury, right? Is it? It's a Mercury, isn't it? The Doomsday plane. I know the chat knows.
I know it's Doomsday plane. That's.
Display Dawn says, you guys are great. Hey, thank you for going above and beyond with the Ninja Genie over on DLive. I appreciate that. What is it's a Mercury 17 or I'll go over to the chat. Everybody knows over there. What is the Doomsday plane called? What is that model number? Let's see. Yes, keep them in the air for hours, says Natasha Rayleigh. What is that Doomsday plane called? Somebody's got it. You guys can Google it. B2. No, that's not it. What is the E4B? Mercury? Is that what it's called? Strategic Air Command. I was surprised that 40 of you didn't say it. No.
Well, there are 747s that are Doomsday planes, but there's others too that I know you're referring to.
E6. I'm talking about the two big ones that went up just last year. Well, okay. So everybody's naming stuff. I guess we have maybe we have more Doomsday planes than I thought. E4B Night Watch E6. That's what I was thinking. E6 something. You're buffering big time wherever keywords are used. Casey Jones, that's why we try to communicate what we can without doing it. Obviously, with the amount of people that watch this show, again, we have more daily viewers than daytime CNN, which isn't saying much. But again, lots of people. E6 Mercury, thank you. That's what I thought it was. Let's see here. Gabby Petito. Actually, somebody, I don't know why that was mentioned, but I did learn about the Gabby Petito thing kind of late. It seems like everybody gets into those kind of true crime kind of things. I did not want to jump on that bandwagon. Pretty disturbing, though, if it is what it is. I mean, right away, that whole Gabby Petito thing looks really strange. The guy left, came home 2 weeks, before or whatever without Gabby. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then, don't worry about it. But essentially a YouTuber/influencer was found perished, right? And it's super strange. And then we have NK. We covered it. We just briefly covered it. NK says it's fired new hypersonic missile. So I know that people are going to laugh at this, but, NK, I think, is getting supported by other countries. I think that either Russia or somebody is actually handing them stuff. NK has kind of been promoted by this kind of axis of adversaries. They are doing a lot of the illegal stuff that all the other countries are being watched by the UN. Anything that, and who knows, the U.S. could be there, and some CIA could have people there doing illegal things. Whatever else. You could have UK, secretly there doing something. We don't know. What I do know is
it was admitted though that they got the EMP technology from Russia, whether it was taken or given. They didn't admit to that, but they admitted to that they have it, right? And not Russia admitted to the fact that
they
NK
got it.
has that, right? So if Russia's been firing off hypersonics, which they have for a while, it's not surprising to think that, okay, well, maybe those plans or blueprints or whatever have been handed over.
Why is Russia, maybe it's because they want to look out for NK for geospatial reasons, right? But as far as we know, that Russia has kind of been put in this place where they could even use NK as a proxy. We found out that in 2006, all of those bad tests, all those tests that we thought were failures by North Korea, all of those failed small yield booms were not failed at all. People made fun of NK saying, oh, these are really small. This isn't even equivalent to our, Hiroshima. They're just, barely touching the surface. In reality, we found out later, Russia ended up saying, well, it was either transferred, we either gave them, or they stole it, or it was transferred, the technology for an EMP. That EMP is a low yield nuke. Low yield. So when you see those low yield explosions, it's not a failure because they couldn't get enough, bang for their buck. It was because they were perfecting it. They were doing this design that they were handed. Now, all of a sudden, after Russia, of course, was one of the first countries that said they had hypersonics, and then all of a sudden now NK has hypersonics. Did NK steal it? I doubt it. Did Russia give it to them? Possibly. So whatever ends up happening here, the bad thing is that I don't know, though. I don't even know if Kim is still there. This might now be a direct tool for Russia. Russia could have taken out the real Kim and did a deal with his sister. His sister is the mouthpiece now. His sister talks for all of NK. I don't understand it. We even, Dennis Rodman, famous NBA player, kooky guy, multicolored hair guy, he's best friends with Kim. He would go there and hang out, and they would party, and they would do whatever, Kim Jong-un and Dennis Rodman do. I don't know. I would imagine it's like a scene out of The Interview. But he said if the sister starts speaking in public, there's something wrong. If the sister starts making more public appearances and starts talking for the family, then something's wrong. And that's exactly what happened. After he said that, all of a sudden, there was the supposed possible death, possible stroke, possible health issues, and then there's been many issues. People are saying he looks skinnier, looks like he had a dot on the back of his head, had a birthmark, all this other stuff. All world leaders have body doubles. So even if there's somebody who looks exactly like him, that doesn't surprise me. Why is his sister talking? Well, you know what's harder to copy is a voice. Dex, have you thought about that? We haven't really heard his voice. We've seen him publicly, and again, they question it because he looks skinnier, he looks this, he looks that. One thing you have a really hard time copying is a voice.
Yeah, well, the thing that gets me going with this is if he actually does have hypersonic capability, those are obviously going to be armed with nukes, and thinking about the ability to send something, over 5,000 miles per hour, whether it's locally or maybe even long distance, that's kind of a pretty scary thing for that guy to have the ability to do.
I can see it now. Power grid goes down by end of year. NK launches nuke to DC, takes out Biden and Dems. Then China takes Taiwan. Russia hits Ukraine, and takes Iran. Isn't that a freaky flipping sentence there? Because there's so many things lining up at once. You see what I'm saying? China, Taiwan, Russia, Ukraine. Russia, I mean, look at what they did. They put 150,000 troops and all of their equipment at the border of Ukraine, and then pulled back their troops but left all their equipment still there. Satellite photos show that. Then you have China lining up those 200 ships there. They're practicing. They're doing all these things. They're going into their ADIZ, their identification zone. They're doing all these things. They are converting their civilian ferries to dropships. They're not doing that just because it's cool. They're not doing that because they think of some far-off future thing. They are preparing for something. It's pretty freaking simple to see. Okay. And then YT bans all content, not just CV related. Dex, this is, we are just in such a world right now. I don't even know what to say anymore.
Yeah, this is, everybody questions like, why do we do certain things or why do we avoid certain things? Well, this is exactly why, right? To survive, you have to play by the rules of the platform you're in, because the rights that you have on the public street don't necessarily apply to the rights you have in a private or a private platform where they can set their own rules, right?
It's pretty amazing, and this doesn't have anything to do with Project Marathon. Yeah, nothing to do with that. It says it is banning several prominent from its site, including Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and will delete all content that suggests approved are harmful or don't work, the company said Wednesday. It says the online video platform, which is owned by said in a blog post, it is cracking down on content that falsely claims that they can cause health effects. It is also targeting content that includes misinfo and contents of approved. We have a whole section on our website. I would highly recommend going over and checking out. Again, I think that everybody needs to, of course, pay attention really, really hard right now. We are in one of the scariest times I think anyone's ever seen. Anything. I love how they don't actually mention the one channel that probably is kind of responsible for this. Starts with Project. So
it says they took down 130,000 videos.
130,000 videos. That is just incredible. So what happens to journalism? What if, for whatever reason, they ended up finding out that something was wrong or there was some big scandal?
You're allowed to do that only if it's historical and only if it's not a currently approved one that is in use.
Okay, but there's not a current one, though. It's the future one that is. So that's what I don't know. I guess I'm confused. Anyways, there's a lot on. They're erasing history, says Gemini Rose. Timmy Ropit, I love that statement. Zipper up. Basically, put that jacket on. It's going to be cold out. Book burning. So much for free speech. We don't have free speech. It's gone. People let it go. And nobody fought for it when it was one thing at a time. And then it was somebody else that was getting silenced. Whatever you thought of AJ, what the hell why didn't anyone stand up? That was the beginning of just this massive, just boom, internet wipeout. And you know what? I think it was completely done. Even if you think he's like a showman and snake oil salesman or whatever you want to say, AJ opened up thousands, if not millions of people's minds to the truth back when he was talking about 2001 of September. The reason I am here today is because of a DVD handed to me on the street by a grassroots campaign that handed me a hand-burned disc of his documentary about loose change. I believe it was one of them. It was 2 different documentaries. I watched them over and over and over again, and I couldn't believe it. And everything clicked, and it was like, oh my gosh. And think about what he would have done during the cycle where everybody drops the things, right? They all said that they did it on their own, and it was all coordinated between every place. And then later, we found out from Congress when they said that all of them are connected and they're watching across everything. I mean, how? And then everybody said, oh, he's a shill. He watches this, he watches that. Now, knowing what we know about how they can fly above in a plane and upload things to people's computers and all this, that's what I don't, you're innocent till proven guilty. Do you remember when that was the thing? Or wait, no, now it's guilty and then proven guilty and then canceled. Right? Yeah, that's what it is now. But not only that, because he got knocked off, it opened up the door. If he had millions of dollars, $1 million court, he had a legal team. He was friends with the current prez, and he had no chance. This is so scary. What a scary world. And then sieve could cause restless anal syndrome. Infected Japanese man, 77, develops bizarre condition. I'll let you go over to the website for this, but Dex, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, it's kind of a poopy situation, but apparently, if you think about restless leg syndrome, where your legs are just constantly needing to move, which happens in quite a lot of people, in this scenario, this gentleman developed a symptom that made him feel like he needed to go to the bathroom all the time, and even if he didn't. And it is, he describes it as if he's moving around, running around, walking, playing a video game that requires activity, that it goes away. But if he sits and rests and doesn't do anything, then it gets worse, and it gets worse at night. And doctors are kind of baffled by it. It's a very rare condition, but they're looking further into it. And it's obviously a very uncomfortable condition to have. And this isn't just a crazy headline. This is actually reported in about 5 or 6 different places. But yeah, it's apparently a true story.
Yes, and again, you can read the rest on marfooglenews.com. Theta Moonme says, Foogle fan, please pray for my mother, Raynell. Tomorrow is 2 weeks in the ICU, and she is now fighting her best to make it through this virus. Thank you. I would say make sure to look up and I'll just say this. So when my personal friend had it, her mother made sure that she knew exactly what treatments they were doing. She was on top of it 100%, had a doctor that they had in their family monitoring. You can get through it. So praying for you. Again, Theta Moonme, I am praying for you and your family. All right, and then let's see here, Dex. There is another thing here, and basically the Sydney, Australia, more craziness.
Yeah, so basically what's happening here is a statement is being made. It's coming out reminding people in the country that just because their date that I think is coming up in December, when they will start opening things back up gradually again, that just because that's happening doesn't mean it's all going to go back to normal for everyone. Only some. And they're clearly stating which people are going to be allowed to participate in and which people are going to basically be isolated and left out in the fun and games like Rudolph.
Yeah, so essentially Australia is turned into Songbird. It says officials warn face difficult life indefinitely. A difficult life indefinitely. Tried to tell ya. It says that's the kind of cough I got when I was in Djibouti. It was the kind of cough I got when I was in Djibouti. That's a pretty good one. Dex, do you want to tell us about the web only? Because what we touched on today isn't even close to what is going on in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So head over to marfooglenews.com, look for the thumbnail for today's show. It'll be right there at the top. Click on it, scroll down, look for web-only content, and you'll find the rest of the story. So everything else that we didn't cover here today is available on the web. You can click through and find those links and articles. Sometimes it's too hot for TV. Sometimes it's just two-sided, and we just, we're not going to go there. Sometimes there are stories like the two before that we try to give you a little bit of information on, but we can't go too deep in them because, they get a little crazy. But anyway, head over there. There's lots going on, different things happening with politics and everyone's favorite doctor and, MGT and even check out, what one congressman had to say to Millie. It's kind of an interesting dialogue there in the drilling that went on in Congress. So marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for today's show, scroll down and look for web-only content. We do it every show. So if you've been missing out, make sure to go to marfooglenews.com. Look on the past shows, everything there that you're missing.
Well, thank you, Dex. And over on D-Live, I want to thank a few people here. We got Defrustrated multiple times supporting tonight. Defrustrated, you had a great point there. Respiratory Jane, Bear Lover 92,000, Angela 1609, and then Kayleen, Phyllis Irish Lass. Thank you. Jillian Gems, Nestor Ojeda, Global Impact, Gone Girl 777, wherever you are. Thank you so much. Wolverine Snicket, Theta Mooned Me. Thank you so much for your support tonight. Thank you for supporting Independent. Ebrin Good, Amanda Pantano. Thank you. And again, all of the people that have tuned in, Survival Living just popped in. Isolation. So do they get to live tax-free? This whole thing is a mess. Just another push in their overall plans. We don't even know what is the big deal here? There's something so massive. How do you think they changed the world in a matter of 2 years? Sometimes I want to cry for my kids. Like, my kids are going to grow up in such shit. Excuse my French. Dex, thank you tonight. Have a wonderful night. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Much love and great show.
We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Please be safe, be prepared, and Marf out. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro.
Psycho, surgery like Michael, dollars and lips full of lipo, toy around like Ico. I'm alright though, alright though, lit like a light bulb. Turn up the ISO, turn down the eye rolls. That's how I roll. I suppose good Jenny people I know sell high, buy low, more stitches than Milo, hieroglyphs in Cairo. got the luck of wine. Me, Holly, mom, Susie Q, him rode to prison. Pain and Jesus, Stumpy and everybody ease us. Holiday Kisser and the Pan Bear, Rob Stewart and that bass air. Going back down, Robert O'Rias, and the Vicky on stove, he on going BS. What's up, Road to Prison? RTP in the house, Ecto 1, Greifel, Johnny Doom, Knowledge 2020, Peepo 3, Paul Nielsen, Tree Hooker, Jem, Deborah from. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by. Holiday Kiss and the Sky Highs, cut the bullshit and the Wilson H now, and the B-Ball Road and the Johnny Doom, and Android Architect, I don't bite no. Got a big back now we now zoom. Little angry mama on the bite no. Norwegian Ganbei, going back now, going everybody gonna go and stand me. Hope Stormy 7572, what's the name 45 and love you. Rook LR, Mariel and Sue, and 38 TB2B. I wanna G and 07 kisses, holiday kiss up, going and missing. Alright then, Dirty, Mighty, Tor, and Laura Griffith. Great show, EP, Johnny Doom, and everybody knows. Not my fault, oops, I said, Lord, I said. It was on the one, on the Raphael Wilson Jr., Cyber Jedi Master, book by Dick Mantooth. Bring it back down, everybody so cool. I bring it, I link it, bring it, sing it, just like Just Looking. And the Lindy Cass, gonna be back down. Nice to have you back, Raw Town. Nice to have you back, Road to Prison, dude. Don't, you know, I've noticed that a lot of people are coming back. Let's get this thing going again. We all have to be positive, push each other up. We have to work together. That means everybody squashes everything. Let's get freaking moving forward. Nice to see you, everybody. Let's get all of just people moving forward. Especially right now. If you watch tonight's episode, you know exactly why. I suffer from the rash and the long cord. We will start full miss on the pin hat, bring back down everybody here. Hey, with the Melissa Schumann show, everybody know Nigel's on the view on things. On Speed Racer with the VB on the mic Ray. On the mic Ray. I say the truth is VB, Michael Ray, Johnny Doom, Sky House, everybody say Jesus Moreno, Volcano, I'm obsceno, that's not a word, yo. Just might go psycho, surgery like Michael, dollars and lips swirl a lipo, toy around like Tycho. I'm right though, alright bro, lit like a light bulb. Turn up the ISO, turn down the eye rolls. That's how I roll. I suppose good Jenny people I know sell high, buy low, more stitches than Milo, hieroglyphs in Cairo, practically white. It's albino, meaning of life, hella final. I'm just a Fido, cardboard sign on the corner like a wino. Grim outlook like a Grimlock dino. Just might go psycho, surgery like Michael, dollars and lips swirl a lipo. Bob Dice, what is going on? Alright bro, lit like a light bulb. Turn. Got the watching on 45 up on mills. Got the bullshit and I need love now. Occam's razor and a collar springer. Bring it back down and I won't no dinger. Tamra S and a John O. Bring it right back, Rob Stewart, oh no. CJ Blaze. Melissa Schumann Show. Melissa Schumann Show. Melissa Schumann Show. Melissa Schumann Show. Melissa Schumann, oh. Melissa, I'm a Schumann. Melissa on the shoot. Melissa on the 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 Schumann. Melissa on the shoot.